Okay, that was a fucking long break. Sorry, pardon us. Unless you've been living under a rock, or like maybe preparing for a once-in-a-lifetime chance to rip and tear at full power on stage, link in the description below. You might have noticed that Idle Farm dropped last week.
New game.
New game. Yes, I lead chants now. It's a thing. Right. Idle Farm is an idle game. We talked about this in our branching out video, and we're going to go into a little bit more detail about what an idle game is, how Idle Farm behaves in relation to what an idle game is supposed to be, and what some of your initial objectives might look like in Idle Farm. Mm-hmm. We will go into a lot more detail about Idle Farm in more videos. You don't want us to drop all of the content in 1.5 hour video, I promise.
It's a big game, there's a lot to discover, and we'll do our normal in-depth videos as we both progress.
Yes. So, on idle games, I am a fucking connoisseur of idle games. Thank you very much.
This is just all you.
I love idle games. I have played Antimatter Dimensions. I have played Universal Paperclip. You name it, an idle game, I've probably at least given it a go. So, in an idle game, you set things to happen. You collect the resources after some time. You use those resources to upgrade things so that resources come in faster. You then reset, usually, and set up things so that your upgrade process happens faster. And then you reset until you're doing that upgrade process so fast that it's automated. And then you will get better quality resources, automate earlier processes, etc., etc. These are called prestige layers normally. Think of it like if you're an epic RPG player, think of it like time traveling. When you time travel, your progress is reset, but you gain permanent buffs that make it easier for you to then move up the dungeons the next time, but you'll have to go higher. But because you went higher, you'll get bigger rewards the next time you time travel. So anyway, that's the concept of an idle game. It looks like Idle Farm executes this concept very well. Yep. So let's talk about how Idle Farm sort of works within that framework. Mm-hmm. And some of the stuff we've noticed as we've started playing.
Yeah.
In Idle Farm, one of the things that you need to know before you even start playing is that there are random events that pop up the same as they do in Epic RPG. They can be generated in any channel on a server. The more players there are on a server, the more chance there is of these things being generated. And they have an opportunity to give you fairly powerful permanent buffs. At least when you're starting out, they're powerful. The short version is, get yourself onto one of the bigger servers that has Idle Farm. Mm-hmm. At the moment, there aren't a great deal, and we will link a few of the ones that we know of that are large that are using it, including, of course, the official server.
Yes.
Idle Farm has a pretty decent tutorial that gets you started on the game. We're going to try and pick up basically where that leaves off. You roll some workers to get your workers initially. You buy some farms, you assign those workers to farms, and then you collect the resources from those farms after a while, so that you can enter the upgrade phase. In the upgrade phase, you will have mostly reset your energy because you've idled for a while and left it, then done your claim. So you can then sell your items, sell your farms, upgrade your workers using roll again, and then send them all off and start collecting again. The time frame for this is much, much shorter than Epic RPG. Like your first loop of this is going to take less than a day. It's very quick.
Yeah, see, I didn't understand that, and so mine has taken about 4 or 5 days.
The point is that you set things to go and then you fuck off and play ERPG for 3 hours and then do your claim. Not, I sit there doing idle claim every 10 minutes. Right?
It's a waste.
Think of it like pets. You send pets, you don't touch them again until they're ready to come back. Sitting there constantly refreshing your pets list is the kind of thing that only an entirely masochistic person would do. Shut up. Shut up. I didn't ask. Wow. Attacked! Jesus. Now, Payday. Payday uses your capital, is the word. Payday uses your entire capital to calculate a score. you can't Payday until you achieve the invisible score that isn't mentioned anywhere and the calculation for hasn't been determined yet, so don't ask because we don't know. But we do know that the score is calculated very similarly to how Super Time Travel score is calculated in Epic RPG. Items are worth different values. If you sell the items for coin, they are actually worth less score to you than if you'd left them as items, but not all items behave that way, and it depends a little bit on market value, so it's kind of complicated. The simplest thing to do is just to check idle Payday after every claim.
Yeah, and it will tell you what percentage of the way you're up to your being able to do a Payday.
Now, once you've done a Payday, you can then use the Idlux that you get from the Payday to buy upgrades. Now, you can get Idlux a couple of ways. You can get Idlux through Paydays, and you can get them through daily. You really should be using your daily command every day. Once the bot is verified, there will also be Vote. Presumably that's also going to be another source of Idlux. The next tier is League upgrades. You will be raiding. You will raid other people. Raiding is an entire mechanic all of its own, and you can lose raid points by raiding wrong. So we will actually make a video to cover raiding in depth later, but the short version is pay attention to what your opponent is using, because if you go send your good workers out against their crap workers, you're probably going to lose the raid. So, workers. Workers come in 7 flavors, useless through to, I think it's called Expert. At the moment, the max worker that you're going to have is Wise.
With the launch codes, you can get an Expert.
Okay, well, there's 7 flavors of workers, but workers are gained by roll or in loot boxes. New workers of the same type that you roll or get will upgrade that worker. Higher level workers will increase your farm production and they will survive longer in raids. So continuing to upgrade your workers as often as you can is important. A big part of idle farm is energy management. How do you use what energy you have available? Very easy to burn it all on doing worker rolls and then realize, oh, I can't raid for another 3 hours because it's going to take that long to get my energy back up. Farms. Farms are the central part of idle farm.
Go figure.
Fucking funny that. Initially, they are basic farms. They require no inputs, they create basic materials, and they only cost basic amounts of currency. Later farms require inputs of basic materials to be able to produce whatever they're producing. So later on, you might have an iron farm that takes iron ore to create iron bars.
Nifty.
Okay, and it is not necessarily better to stack those though. So it's going to depend a little bit on the market, which we will discuss in a future video because the market is not totally implemented, not totally working yet.
Right. I've been some.
Okay, we're back after some technical issues, so if the things are a bit wonky, then pardon, sorry, that's why. That is basically it for an intro to Idle Farm. There is a lot more depth to this game in the future. You start being able to make things like wire and being able to pack things for other people and request items for other people from other people.
So it really gets on the multiplayer.
Yeah, it gets on the entire economy aspect and actually having its own built-in economy where you're trading items to help other people build things or to take other people's built things to help you upgrade things or whatever. If you're not on board with it yet, really do get on board with it. It's not hard. It's like a super fucking easy game to pick up and play. And because it's an idle game, you can ignore it.
Yeah. A couple of times a day and just
literally
a few minutes here and there.
Yeah. It doesn't suck your time like ERPG does. Anyway, look, I had a fucking banger weekend.
You did.
So I'm still on a high from that and I'm recovering, but look, frankly, my socials are going absolutely mental right now, which is amazing. So if you're one of the people that watches this channel, please, for the love of God, go over to Matt Frequencies and check out the absolute fucking nonsense that I dropped on the weekend. I'm very fucking proud of it and I want you to hear it.
Yeah. And it's related to gaming.
It is. An entire set of gaming music. Rip and tear until it is
Okay.
done.
Okay. Sign off time. Now, I did it last time and it was weird, so you need to sign off.
All right, fine. I've been MT.
I'm the Violet Bombshell.
We will catch you in a couple of days for the Horse Festival video. For now,
Bye!
This is your world.